My name is Caleb. Thanks so much for clicking on my video. In this one, I'm going to show you how you get your high frame rate video shots to actually behave like slow motion in Hitfilm. So you're watching this video probably because you notice your high frame rate shots still just playing at the frame rate for the timeline that you're working on. So that's just Hitfilm trying to be smart and converting it, assuming that you want it to play back at that speed. But because we that's not what we want, what you need to do is you actually go over to this gear icon on your source file, and it's going to give you the frame rate option with a checkbox from file. You need to deselect that, and then that's going to allow you to change the frame rate. Now you always want to choose the option that is basically, you always want to choose the frame rate that you're working with. That will automatically optimize the clip to that frame rate. So just to demonstrate here, let's just make a quick selection. So it will be right here, and what you're gonna see is basically that this clip is gonna play at 24 frames per second. If you check frame by frame, you're gonna notice that my hand is traveling really far. Now, once we change the frame rate here, what you'll notice is, first things first, this file automatically changes. So let's just make a quick composite of that. So you notice that immediately I time travel in the clip, and that's a result of changing the frame rate. But then the other thing that is important, that also means that you can't use this clip. It's no longer what you actually selected to use. So what you need to do now that the frame rate is changed is go back to the trimmer and just drag the file back onto the timeline that you plan to use it on. It will be the proper selection and will also be in slow motion now. So and this is what a higher frame rate is supposed to look like on a lower frame rate working timeline. So now that it's playing back, you could actually see the slow motion. And not only that, if you look frame by frame, you can see my hand is traveling a much slower distance. So that just shows you the higher frames per second there. Now, important to note, let's say you wanted to select another portion of the same clip for slow motion. What you'll notice is that in the trimmer, it now says could not play frame. All you need to do to fix that is you go back into your source file, and then you just reselect the from file option. That will bring back up the entire clip details in the trimmer. So then you could select your other point or your other portion. Now the important thing here, you just go back into the source file one more time, deselect from file, and then put it back at 24 frames per second. So that is going to allow you to now pull the second portion onto your working timeline, and now you have two slow motion clips. So once you change the frame rate back, not only in the trimmer is it gonna say could not play, but it's also gonna disappear for these two files now in your actual working timeline, so in your viewer. But as soon as you change it back, it's gonna be good. The only thing this is really gonna affect is if you want to use a clip at this original frame rate, and you also want to use a clip at the slow motion frame rate, you can't use the same file. So all you would need to do, let me just put it back to 24 frames per second, is you just drag a source file back into it. So you just drag another copy into Hitfilm, into your media panel, and you just use that one for the other frame rate. So now you have the 24 frames per second, and now you have the 120 frames per second. That will just automatically drop the frames according to your timeline, and that's all there is. So if you have any other questions, feel free to ask me down in the comments below. Alright, and that's it for this video. So my name is Caleb again. Thanks so much for watching. I really hope that it was helpful. If it was, like the video, Also subscribe to the channel because I plan to post a lot more tutorials on Hitfilm as well as Affinity Photos. So that's my photo editor. I choose these two programs because they're so much better than a subscription model, because in terms of the cost, and then they actually perform really well. So anyways, and also follow me on Instagram. I post there almost every day. Thanks again. See you in the next video.